Activists across Syria are preparing for another day of mass protests following Friday prayers. On Thursday, 7 people were reportedly killed, 5 of whom died in the city of Homs. US President Barack Obama has said Syria's ruler, Bashar al-Assad, risks plunging his nation into civil war unless he deals decisively with the current crisis. Joining me now is Rosen. He's a journalist who recently returned after several weeks spent inside the country. They're talking about potential civil war. If that's not what we're seeing at the moment, what is it?
We are seeing the beginnings in some parts of the country, certainly of civil war. In the rural areas of Homs and Hama, there are villages where I saw many things which reminded me of Iraq in 2004 and 2005 in the beginning period. We're seeing Sunni and Alawite militias in their villages. We're seeing people who stray into the wrong village being killed. And certainly the sectarian divide is growing. It's impossible to deny that the opposition is majority Sunni and the regime supporters are majority Alawite, Christian.
Why do you think it's growing? Is it because of the violence that's been meted out, or? Certainly, violence tends to divide people. They watch different media. They go to different funerals for different martyrs. Alawites may go to funerals for Alawite martyrs who maybe are in the police or the army. Sunnis will go to funerals for Sunni martyrs who are demonstrators. We're in a very sectarian regional climate anyway, thanks to events in Iraq, in Lebanon, the Saudi-Iranian conflict. And the regime itself, of course, is successfully manipulating sectarianism. You would think that poor Alawites would be opponents of the regime, for example, because this is really a poor man's revolt. But poor Alawites are supporting the regime because to them there's this threat of Sunni Islam, of Islamists taking over. So the regime has convinced them that if it's not for this regime, you're going to have civil war, you're going to have Islamists, you won't be able to live your more secular lifestyle. So if the regime is cleverly manipulating divisions, sectarian divisions, where does this leave the opposition now?
The opposition has also failed to reach out successfully to non-Sunnis. In part, this is because some of the loudest voices for the opposition are sectarian clerics. For example, there's one called Sheikh Hadan al-Arur, who is on a satellite channel based in Saudi Arabia, a very extreme kind of sectarian Sunni cleric who is popular with some of the opposition, but to Alawites he's become the face of the revolution. Demonstrations come out of mosques, which obviously makes it more difficult for Alawites and Christians to join in. The main slogan is God is great. Nothing wrong with that, of course, but it's a uniquely Islamic sort of slogan. It's not going to help appeal to non-Sunnis. There is some kind of Sunni resentment about the excessive influence that Alawites have in the regime.
What is your gut feeling? I mean, is this going to just slide away and the government will remain in power? What can likely break this impasse? Because it's a different story here. It's
certainly an impasse. That's the correct word to use. Neither side can win right now. The regime seems like it can survive, but the sanctions are weakening the ruling class. Social relations are just destroyed. Sunnis and Alawites in particular don't trust each other. There's a lot of hatred, relationships being damaged, and so much blood has been shed, primarily of course on the opposition side, but you have Alawites who've been killed, you have security forces who've been killed, that Syria can't survive like this for so much longer. Everybody's waiting for the next big event, international intervention, major defections from the army. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but it seems clear that the regime can survive for now, but in the long run it's hard to see how this doesn't lead to some kind of civil war, with other countries taking advantage of it, of course. If Israel, Iran, Saudi Arabia, the US, everybody has an interest in events in Syria.
Yeah, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Nir's writing a series of articles on his time in Syria for Al Jazeera's website, the first of which will go online later on Friday. So head to aljazeera.net/English for more comments from Nir.